हरिः ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरिः ॐ येनेदं भूतं भुवनं भविष्यत् परिगृहीतममृतेन सर्वं येन यज्ञस्त्रायते सप्तहोता तन्मे मनः शिवसङ्कल्पमस्तु येन कर्माणि प्रचरन्ति धीरायतो वाचा मनसा चारुयन्ति यत्सम्मितं मनः सञ्चरन्ति तन्मे मनः शिवसङ्कल्पमस्तु येन कर्माण्यपसो मनीषिणो यज्ञे कृण्वन्ति विदथेषु धीराः यदपूर्वं यच्छमन्तं प्रजानां तन्मे मनः शिवसङ्कल्पमस्तु यत्प्रज्ञानमुतचेतो धृतिश्च यज्ज्योतिरन्तरमृतं प्रजासु यस्मान्नरिते किञ्चन कर्म क्रियते तन्मे मनः शिवसङ्कल्पमस्तु सुषारथिरश्वानि वयं मनुष्यान्मे नियुते पशुभिर्वाजिनीवान् हृत्प्रविष्टं यदचरयविष्टं तन्मे मनः शिवसङ्कल्पमस्तु यस्मिन् ऋचः सामयजोगुंषि यस्मिन् प्रतिष्ठा रशनाभाविभाराः यस्मिग्गश्चित्तगं सर्वमोतं प्रजानां तन्मे मनः शिवसङ्कल्पमस्तु यदत्र षष्ठं त्रिशतगं सुवीर्यं यज्ञस्य गुह्यं नवनाभमायम् दश पञ्चत्रिगं शतं यत्परं तन्मे मनः शिवसङ्कल्पमस्तु यज्जाग्रतो दूरमुदयतु सर्वं तत्सुप्तस्य तथैवेति दूरङ्गमं ज्योतिषां ज्योतिरेकं तन्मे मनः शिवसङ्कल्पमस्तु येनेदं विश्वं जगतो बभूव ये देवा विमहतो जातवेदाः तदेवाग्निस्तद्वायुस्तत्सूर्यस्तदुचन्द्रमास्तन्मे मनः शिवसङ्कल्पमस्तु येन द्यौः पृथिवी चान्तरिक्षं च ये पर्वताः प्रदिशो दिशश्च येनेदं जगद्व्याप्तं प्रजानां तन्मे मनः शिवसङ्कल्पमस्तु ये मनोहृदयं ये च देवा ये दिव्या आपो ये सूर्यरश्मिः ते श्रोत्रे चक्षुषि सञ्चरन्तं तन्मे मनः शिवसङ्कल्पमस्तु अचिन्त्यं चाप्रमेयं च व्यक्ताव्यक्तपरं च यत् सूक्ष्मात् सूक्ष्मतरं ज्ञेयं तन्मे मनः शिवसङ्कल्पमस्तु एकादश च शतं च सहस्रं चायुतं च नियुतं च प्रयुतं चार्बुदं च न्यर्बुदं च तन्मे मनः शिवसङ्कल्पमस्तु वेदाहमेतं पुरुषं महान्तमादित्यवर्णं तमसः परस्तात् यस्य योनिं परिपश्यन्ति धीरास्तन्मे मनः शिवसङ्कल्पमस्तु ॐ शान्तिः 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 हरिः ॐ.
Most revered President Maharaj, most revered Vice President Maharaj, revered monks of the Ramakrishna order, revered Matajis, all of you who are here in this auditorium physically, and all of you who are watching virtually, a very warm welcome to all of you. 125 years and 2 weeks ago, he gave the clarion call of Atmano Mokshartham Jagadvitaya Cha, for one's own liberation and for the good of mankind and the world. And he sowed the seeds of an organization which today resembles a huge banyan tree with branches spread across the continents in the service of humankind. It is only fitting that this month, which commemorates the 125 years of the founding of the Ramakrishna Math and Ramakrishna Mission, that the Ramakrishna Mission Vivekananda Auditorium at the Viveka Tirtha here is being inaugurated in the presence and by Srimat Swami Smaranananda Ji Maharaj, our most revered President Maharaj. This exquisite state-of-the-art auditorium, which has just been inaugurated on the holy occasion of Buddha Purnima today, as you have all seen, resembles the Art Institute at Chicago, where Swami Vivekananda emerged as the world teacher, living up to his great master's prophecy that Narendranath would teach whenever he would care to go out and speak. At the outset, we shall have an opening song rendered by Swami Shivadhishananda Ji Maharaj of Ramakrishna Math, Belur Math.
বীর সেনাপতি বিবেকানন্দ ওই যে ডাকিছে আয় রে আয় আহ্বানে তার আপনা ভুলিয়া কত মহারথী ছুটিয়া যায় বীর সেনাপতি বিবেকানন্দ ওই যে ডাকিছে আয় রে আয় আহ্বানে তার আপনা ভুলিয়া কত মহারথী ছুটিয়া যায় বীর সেনাপতি আত্মত্যাগের অগ্নিমন্ত্রে দীক্ষিত হয়ে নবীনতন্ত্রে আত্মত্যাগের অগ্নিমন্ত্রে দীক্ষিত হয়ে নবীনতন্ত্রে আপনা সপিতে কে যাবি আয় ভগবাদ জাত দৈত্য দলিতে আপনা সপিতে কে যাবি আয় বীর সেনাপতি বীর সেনাপতি বিবেকানন্দ ওই যে ডাকিছে আয় রে আয় স্বার্থ দ্বন্দ্ব ভোগ কোলাহল এনেছে জগতে শুধু হলাহল স্বার্থ দ্বন্দ্ব ভোগ কোলাহল এনেছে জগতে শুধু হলাহল নিভাতে আজিকে দাবানল নিভাতে আজিকে দাবানল প্রেম বাড়ি সে জেনেছে হায় নিভাতে আজিকে এই দাবানল প্রেম বাড়ি সে জেনেছে হায় এসো দেব এসো করুণা নিধান লহ আজি মম তনু মন প্রাণ এসো দেব এসো করুণা নিধান লহ আজি মম তনু মন প্রাণ কৃপা করি করো এ আশিস দান কৃপা করি করো এ আশিস দান তব কাজে যেন জীবন যায় কৃপা করি করো এ আশিস দান তব কাজে যেন জীবন যায় বীর সেনাপতি বীর সেনাপতি বিবেকানন্দ ওই যে ডাকিছে আয় রে আয় আহ্বানে তার আপন ভুলিয়া কত মহারথী ছুটিয়া যায় বীর সেনাপতি বীর সেনাপতি বীর সেনাপতি
We shall now garland most revered President Maharaj. May I request Revered Swami Vivekananda, Secretary of the Viveka Tirtha, to do the honors on our behalf, followed by Revered General Secretary Maharaj of the Ramakrishna Mutt and Ramakrishna Mission, Srimat Swami Suvirananda Maharaj. Srimat Swami Suvirananda Maharaj, General Secretary Ramakrishna Mutt and Ramakrishna Mission, will now deliver his welcome address.
नमस्ते यतिराजाय विवेकानंद सूरये सच्चित सुख स्वरूपाय स्वामिने तापहारिणे Most revered Srimat Swami Smaranananda Maharaj, the President of the Worldwide Ramakrishna Mutt and Ramakrishna Mission, who is present here today. Revered Swami Girishananda Maharaj, one of the Vice Presidents of the Ramakrishna Mutt and Ramakrishna Mission, who is also so kindly present here today. Swami Bodhasarananda, Assistant General Secretary, Swami Vivekananda, Secretary of Ramakrishna Mission Center for Human Excellence and Social Sciences, Viveka Tirtha. Very respected NG Subramaniam, the Chief Operating Officer of Tata Consultancy Services and Board Member of TCS and TCS Foundation, Mumbai. Sri Ajoyendra Mukherjee, Director of TCS Foundation, Mumbai. Sri Barindra Sanyal, former Director of TCS Foundation, Mumbai, and the President of today's inaugural proceedings. Distinguished guests, devotees, admirers, and friends. I must also here mention very respected Matajis who have come from Sharda Math. First of all, I offer my pranams at the holy lotus feet of Sri Ramakrishna, the great master, those of Holy Mother Sri Sharda Devi, the universal mother, my mother, your mother, mother of all, and Swami Vivekananda, our leader, and also Lord Buddha. This day is a thrice blessed day. Buddha was born, Buddha received enlightenment, and this is the day also for his Mahaparinirvana, Mahasamadhi. Vivekananda once said, quote unquote, "The man for whom I reserve the highest regard is Buddha." Naturally, what could be a more befitting day than this day for August inauguration of Vivekananda Auditorium here this morning? Then I offer my respectful pranams at the holy feet of most revered President Maharaj of our holy order and seek his blessings for all of us present here today. My humble pranams to all the senior monks and loving namaskar to brother monks and also best wishes for the brahmacharis present. My respectful namaskar to the Matajis of Sharda Math who have come here today. Although Mr. A.N. Chandrasekharan, Chairman of Tata Sons Private Limited, Mumbai, couldn't make it today, make it to today's program due to sudden turn up of a very, very important commitment. We are glad that Mr. N.G. Subramaniam has arrived here amongst us to adorn the chair of the chief guest of the function. Our hearty and most cordial welcome is certainly reserved for him. It's a matter of great joy that he is with us this lovely morning. I also extend a cordial welcome to our guests, devotees, admirers, and friends from the media who have assembled here today in large numbers to cover this historic occasion. At the outset, I must remember Mamata Bandyopadhyay, the dynamic Chief Minister of West Bengal, but for whose generous and noble gesture these Viveka Tirtha would not have seen the light of the day. On behalf of the Ramakrishna Mutt and Ramakrishna Mission, I would like to profusely thank our Honorable Chief Minister. She has all along been an admirer of Swami Vivekananda. In the valedictory function of the sesquicentenary of Swami Vivekananda, held in 2014 at Belur Math, it was Honorable Mamata Bandyopadhyay who proposed to the authorities of Ramakrishna Mission to set up a man-making and character-building institute, for which she proposed to offer all logistic support, including land, etc. She kept her word and she did it. She arranged 5 acres of land, the present site, on perpetual lease. She also named the complex as Viveka Tirtha. Thus we may say that Viveka Tirtha is a dream project of Mamata Bandyopadhyay, the Honorable Chief Minister of West Bengal. Mamata Bandyopadhyay herself laid the foundation stone for Viveka Tirtha on 11th of November 2014. We are grateful to our dynamic Chief Minister for her continuous help and assistance in setting up this new center of human excellence. In this connection, the contribution of my predecessor, Revered Srimat Swami Suhitananda Maharaj, now a Vice President of our order, in starting the process of constructing this institute must be respectfully mentioned, and I most gladly do this. It would have been excellent had he been physically present here, but he has a pressing commitment elsewhere. Hence, he couldn't make it here today, but we are glad that he has blessed us with a message of benediction, which will be read out in this inaugural ceremony. We are also beholden to Revered Swami Gautamananda ji, Revered Swami Prabhananda ji, and Revered Swami Bhajanananda ji for their kind blessings on this occasion. We offer our respectful pranams to each of them. Viveka Tirtha will encompass in it an institute of human excellence, a school of languages, a computer training institute, a values education institute, a library, a conference hall, an auditorium, an exhibition hall, and separate quarters for monks, guests, and staff. The construction of the entire campus of Viveka Tirtha is estimated to cost more than rupees 150 crore. The most distinguishing feature of Viveka Tirtha is the design of the Vivekananda Auditorium, which resembles the Art Institute of Chicago, USA, where Swami Vivekananda delivered his world-famous addresses in the World's Parliament of Religion in 1893. We have spent more or less 42.5 crore for the construction of this auditorium where we are sitting this morning. A charitable organization as Ramakrishna Mission is, it depends entirely on the generous donations from the public and financial support from the government for running all its service activities. But a project of this magnitude couldn't be materialized without active support from corporate industries. We are indebted to TCS Foundation, who came forward at this crucial time to sponsor the entire funding of rupees 40.2 crores as the sole sponsor for constructing this beautiful auditorium, which is a replica of the Art Institute of Chicago and the first structure of its kind in the entire state of West Bengal. However, our expenses for this auditorium stands at rupees 42.5 crores, while we have received rupees 42.2 crore from our sponsor. There is deficit of an amount of rupees 2.3 crores. Never mind, Swami Vivekananda will certainly take care of this. This unison of Ramakrishna Mission and Tata is not new. It started way back in 1893 on the SS Impress of India. On May 31, aboard a steamer that sailed from Yokohama to Vancouver, two great Indians, Swami Vivekananda, the rejuvenator of modern India, and Jamshedji Tata, the father of Indian industry and pioneer of scientific research in India, met for the first time. The Swami Vivekananda was on his way to Chicago to attend the World's Parliament of Religions, and Jamshedji was en route to Chicago to attend an industrial exposition. During this historic voyage, many issues were discussed between Swami Vivekananda and Jamshedji Tata. Vivekananda narrated to Jamshedji the experiences he had gained during his travels in the quest of truth throughout the length and breadth of India as a wandering monk. He talked about the relentless oppression and repression of his fellow Indians he had seen at the hands of colonial authorities. They discussed Japan's phenomenal progress in technology and Jamshedji's plan of laying the foundations of the steel industry in India. The founder of one of India's largest conglomerates, Jamshedji also explained that he was in search of equipment and technology that would help make India a strong industrial nation. Vivekananda endorsed the vision with enthusiasm, adding that the real hope of India lay in the prosperity and progress of its ordinary millions. He also added that instead of importing machines from Japan, Jamshedji should manufacture them in India and help provide a livelihood to the rural poor. Impressed by Vivekananda's views on science and deep-rooted patriotism, Jamshedji requested his guidance in his campaign to establish a research institute in India. The visionary monk smiled, gave his blessings and remarked, I quote, how wonderful it would be if we could combine the scientific and technological achievements of the West with the asceticism and humanism of India, unquote. Jamshedji and Vivekananda never met after their journey. Both these words struck a chord in Jamshedji's heart, and 5 years later, in 1898, he sent a letter to Vivekananda, wherein he wrote, I quote, I trust you remember me as a fellow traveler on your voyage from Japan to Chicago. I very much recall at this moment your views on the growth of the ascetic spirit in India and the duty not of destroying, but of diverting it into useful channels. I am of opinion that if such a crusade in favor of an asceticism of this kind were undertaken by a competent leader, it would greatly help asceticism, science, and the good name of our common country. And I know not who would make a more fitting general of such a campaign than Vivekananda himself. Unquote. Although Swamiji couldn't accept the offer, he sent Sister Nivedita to Jamshedji for the project. Together they formulated a detailed plan for the research institute. The Tata Institute of Science was born in 1909 and renamed the Indian Institute of Science, IISc, in 1911. Today, it is the pride of Indian and one of the premier research institutions in the whole of the world. Today, this unstinted support of TCS Foundation for the construction of the replica of the Art Institute of Chicago, Christian Vivekananda Auditorium at Viveka Tirtha is a befitting homage to these two great luminaries of India, two great souls of our motherland, who met on their way to Chicago. Further, this has rekindled the century-old bonding. This has rekindled the century-old bonding of Ramakrishna Mission and Tata Group. Any number of words are not sufficient to express our gratitude to the Tata Group for supporting this ambitious and monumental project. It is interesting to note that the idea of Viveka Tirtha was mooted when the country was agog with the celebration of the 150th anniversary of Swami Vivekananda. The center will be hopefully completed and service activities started when the nation is a witness of the observance of 125th anniversary of the Ramakrishna Mission, Vivekananda's dream mission. What a pleasant and wonderful coincidence indeed. As I just mentioned, on one hand, the Ramakrishna Mission is celebrating its 125th anniversary, and on the other hand, the whole nation is agog with the joy of celebrating the 75th anniversary of its independence, Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. It's a matter of great joy that at this momentous occasion, we could declare open the Vivekananda Auditorium at Viveka Tirtha in the holy memory of Swami Vivekananda, the prophet of modern India. Jamshedji told Sister Nivedita, I quote again, when the Swami was in Japan, everyone who saw him was struck by his likeness to the Buddha, unquote. It's a remarkable coincidence that the Vivekananda Auditorium, sponsored by Tata Group, is being inaugurated on the auspicious Buddha Purnima. On this honorous occasion, I have reasons to compliment the TCS Foundation for being a historic participant in this laudable venture. I also must share with you a big congrats for my brother Swami Vivekananda, the head of Viveka Tirtha. Our big hand for him. May the blessings of Swamiji Maharaj be showered profusely on all associated with this project. Thank you so very much. Namaskar.
Thank you, Most Revered General Secretary Maharaj. We shall now have the sacred benediction by Most Revered President Maharaj. It will be read out by Revered Swami Vivekananda Ji Maharaj, Trustee and Treasurer of the Ramakrishna Mutt and Ramakrishna Mission.
I am reading out the benedictory message from Revered President Maharaj. Dear Sri Barindra Sanyal, President of the meeting, Sri N.G. Subramaniam, Chief Guest of the meeting, Swami Girishananda Ji, Swami Suvirananda Ji, Swami Bodhasarananda Ji, Swami Vivekananda Ji, Sri Ajoyendra Mukherjee, monks, nuns of the Sarada Math, honorable guests and devotees. This is a very special occasion and I have no words to express my joy. Today we have dedicated a large and beautiful auditorium named after our prophet and leader, Swami Vivekananda, at this branch of the Ramakrishna Mission. The architecture of this auditorium, the name of the center's location, that is Viveka Tirtha, and this auspicious day of Buddha Purnima, all these evoke in me a train of exalting thoughts. The facade of this auditorium brings to our memory the famous Art Institute of Chicago, which had the privilege of hosting the first World's Parliament of Religions. The Art Institute provided a launch pad for Swami Vivekananda to set in motion his Vedantic mission in the West. The Parliament of Religions was a crucial turning point in the life of Swamiji, in the cultural history of India, and also in the religious makeup of the Western world. With his celebrated address of welcome in the Parliament, Swamiji took the American society by storm. His phenomenal success at the Parliament paved the way for his future work both in the West and in India. Swamiji's speeches at the Parliament and the response he received awakened Indians to the grandeur of their religion and culture. This national awakening metamorphosed in course of time to become the movement that liberated India from the foreign rule. Swamiji's message of religious harmony also had far-reaching consequences on the religious leaders and institutions of the Western world. Swamiji, with his characteristic boldness, asserted in his concluding speech at the Parliament, quote, "If the Parliament of Religions has shown anything to the world, it is this. it has proved to the world that holiness, purity, and charity are not the exclusive possessions of any church in the world, and that every system has produced men and women of the most exalted character. In the face of this evidence, if anybody dreams of the exclusive survival of his own religion and the destruction of the others, I pity him from the bottom of my heart and point out to him that upon the banner of every religion will soon be written, in spite of resistance, help and not fight, assimilation and not destruction, harmony and peace and not dissension, unquote. We can also imagine the effect these thundering words made on those people who had never given a thought to any other religion than their own. After listening to Swamiji, the scales fell from the eyes of the audience, and they understood that purity, holiness, and truth are no longer a monopoly of any one religion. A new chapter in the interfaith dialogue and harmony was ushered in by the Parliament. For all these reasons, and many more, we see that the Parliament of Religions at Chicago was a very significant event, and the Art Institute stands as a symbol of all that was achieved in that historic congregation. Hence, it is befitting that we have in Kolkata, the birthplace of Swamiji, at least one structure which reminds people of that momentous event. The place where the center of the Ramakrishna mission is situated is called Viveka Tirtha, a name that strikes a chord with devotees. Tirtha in Sanskrit means a place of pilgrimage. Here we are going to start a center for human excellence and social sciences, where hundreds and thousands of people will receive training so that they understand, discover, and bring forth many hidden excellences in them. The place where such a glorious transformation of human personality happens becomes a tirtha indeed. Swami Vivekananda, to whom this place is dedicated, would be extremely glad to see real men and women emerging out of their little cocoons of self-doubt and ignorance. In a sense, such a manifestation of excellence within was the central note of Swamiji's message. He was a champion of the greatness of man. He once remarked, "I may have to be born again because I have fallen in love with man," unquote. Such was his great heart and love for mankind. These qualities of Swamiji, a loving heart and readiness to undergo suffering for the sake of others, immediately bring Gautama Buddha to our memory. Today is Vaishakha Purnima, the sacred birthday of Bhagavan Buddha. Swamiji often waxed eloquent about the compassion, rational approach, and sincerity of the great Shakya Muni. Buddha, Swamiji said, did not go to the forest to meditate for his own salvation. He felt that the world was burning and that he must find a way out. Why is there so much misery in the world? Was the one question that dominated his whole life, Swamiji observed. These words are as much applicable to Swamiji himself as they are to Buddha. We find many similarities in the outlook and work of these two personalities. 2 weeks ago, on 1st May, the 125th anniversary of the Ramakrishna mission was inaugurated through a grand function at Belur Math. The 125th anniversary is going to be celebrated through several programs over the next 1 year. I am very glad that this unique auditorium is inaugurated on this occasion of its 125th anniversary. I hope that this auditorium will host many more programs to commemorate the occasion. I conclude with my sincere thanks to the state government and Tata Group for their unstinting support for this project. Our thanks also to the engineers and contractors for their wonderful work. May Sri Ramakrishna Sri Ma Sharada Devi and Swamiji Maharaj shower their blessings on all and on this institution. Thank you. Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu. Namaskar, Pranam.
Our revered, most revered Vice President Maharajas, 4 of them, are not here physically on stage. We shall now hear their blessings. May I request at the outset Swami Mahapragyananda Ji Maharaj to read out the blessings of Srimat Swami Prabhananda Ji Maharaj, Vice President of the Ramakrishna Math and Ramakrishna Mission.
I will read out the message of most revered Srimat Swami Prabhananda Ji. Viveka Tirtha, the Ramakrishna Mission Center for Human Excellence and Social Sciences, a branch of the Ramakrishna Mission, has been started with a prime objective to impart man-making and character-building education as envisioned by Swami Vivekananda. The Vivekananda Auditorium is one of the important structures of this fledgling center. The design of this auditorium resembles the Art Institute of Chicago in the United States, where Swami Vivekananda delivered his landmark speeches in the World's Parliament of Religions in 1893. During one of my visits to the United States, I was fortunate enough to spend some time at the famous Fullerton Hall of the Chicago Art Institute, sanctified by Swami Vivekananda. On September 11, 1995, the Art Institute of Chicago put up a bronze plaque to commemorate Swami Vivekananda's historic address in that building. The plaque reads in part, quote, "His, that is Swami Vivekananda's, unprecedented success opened the way for the dialogue between Eastern and Western religions," quoted. Now we have the replica of the Art Institute of Chicago in the prime location of Kolkata. This monument symbolizes peace and harmony, which is one of the key principles of the Ramakrishna Vivekananda ideology. The Vivekananda Auditorium in the Viveka Tirtha will reverberate Swami Vivekananda's appeal, quote, "Help and not fight, assimilation and not destruction, harmony and peace and not dissension," quoted. Today is Buddha Purnima, the thrice blessed day, symbolizing Gautam Buddha's birth, enlightenment called Nirvana, and passing away called Parinirvana. Swami Vivekananda had great admiration for Buddha Deva. Swamiji's letters, lectures, etc. affirm this fact. It is quite appropriate that on the auspicious occasion of Buddha Purnima, the Vivekananda Auditorium has been declared open. I convey my best wishes to all associated with this noble endeavor, and I offer sincere prayers to Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna, Holy Mother Sri Sarada Devi, and Swamiji Maharaj for the good and well-being of all. Swami Prabhananda.
May I now request Swami Atmeshwaranandaji Maharaj to read out the blessings from Srimat Swami Gautamanandaji Maharaj.
The message sent from Sri Ramakrishna Mutt, Mylapore, Chennai, dated 10th May 2022. The assemblage of monks, nuns, dignitaries, devotees and others this day at Viveka Tirtha, New Town, Kolkata, for the inauguration of the Vivekananda Auditorium is a matter of great joy. This auditorium has been made to resemble the Art Institute of Chicago, where Swami Vivekananda had addressed a huge gathering of representatives of various religions from various countries and had spoken impressively about our Sanatana Dharma, the eternal religion, on September 11, 1893. His captivating exposition of the religion of our land left an indelible mark on the elite audience gathered. America got the credit of hosting a world prophet in Swami Vivekananda at the Parliament of Religions. The city of Chicago went down the pages of history to be the place from where Vivekananda rose to world prominence. The Art Institute of Chicago became the venue of the epoch-making event. Swamiji's life and prophetic ideas are a great source of strength and hope for all human beings in their life's struggle. They are deep and vast and are applicable to all, irrespective of time, place, or person. They help in building character as much as they help in building nations. The positive and constructive ideas of Swamiji need to be preached, propagated, and worked out. Those who hold high the torch of universal well-being that was lit by Swami Vivekananda will be great well-wishers of mankind. Viveka Tirtha and the Art Institute on its campus are a gigantic attempt for the cause of universal well-being. They are a tribute to Swamiji's contribution to the growth and development of our nation, religion, and the world. My blessings and good wishes to Swami Vivekananda and all those associated with him in erecting such a grand structure under the guidance of Belur Mutt. I pray to Sri Ramakrishna, the Holy Mother Sri Sharada Devi, and Swami Vivekananda to shower their blessings on this noble venture for the realization of the high ideals it stands for. Jai Ramakrishna, Jai Ma, Jai Swamiji. Signed, Swami Gautamananda Ji, Vice President, Ramakrishna Mutt and Ramakrishna Mission.
I shall request once again Swami Mahapragyanandaji Maharaj to come on to the dais and read out the blessings received from Srimat Swami Suhitananda Maharaj.
Message from Most Revered Srimat Swami Suhitananda Maharaj. My pranams to Most Revered President Maharaj Ji, my greetings to all the Swamis, and good wishes to all the devotees gathered here. It is a momentous occasion that the Vivekananda Auditorium at Viveka Tirtha is being inaugurated by most revered President Maharaj on the auspicious occasion of Buddha Purnima. Swamiji declared, quote, "I have a message for the West as Buddha had a message for the East," quoted. To him, the Eastern, that is Indian, and the Western civilizations are both great experiments spewing out in equal measures good and bad experiences of the humankind. He believed that a harmonious blending of these two civilizations will result in an ideal culture of humanity. Swamiji's historic speech at the Chicago Parliament of Religions created an opportunity to present his ideal of, as an author puts it, quote, "a man without frontiers," quoted. His foundation of Ramakrishna Mission 125 years ago is another effort in this direction. As he himself points out, quote, "My idea is to bring to the door of the meanest, the poorest, the noble ideas that the human race has developed both in and out of India, and let them think for themselves. My whole ambition in life is to set in a motion a machinery which will bring noble ideas to the door of everybody, and then let men and women settle their own fate," quoted. It is a good fortune to visit the places sanctified by Swamiji during his stay in Europe and America. I had the opportunity to visit the residences of Professor Max Muller, of Mr. Study, of the Saviors, and of the Legates. It was then that the immensity of the contribution of the Western followers of Swami Vivekananda hit home. Also, during this Viveka Tirtha Parikrama, or the pilgrimage following Swamiji's footsteps, I stood away before the renowned Art Institute of Chicago, where Swamiji first made his appearance on the world stage. The building embodies the message of Swamiji to the entire world. Hence, when a center of Ramakrishna Mission named Viveka Tirtha was being discussed, it was thought that the Art Institute of Chicago was the perfect symbol to represent the character of the upcoming center, both aesthetically and ideally. I hope it would be the form that would resonate the voice of Swami Vivekananda.
I shall once again request Swami Atmeshwarananda Maharaj to come to the dais and read out blessings received from most revered Swami Bhajanananda Maharaj.
The message is from Swami Bhajanananda Belur Much, on the occasion of the inauguration of the Vivekananda Auditorium at Viveka Tirtha on 16th May 2022. The famous American poet Walt Whitman states in one of his poems, "That city is the greatest, which has the greatest number of people." As far as my understanding goes, next to Tokyo and Shanghai, Kolkata is the third biggest city in the world. A great city like Kolkata needs a big auditorium, such as this one at Viveka Tirtha. The uniqueness of this auditorium is that it is meant for the welfare of the common people. Swami Vivekananda had immense faith in the potentialities inherent in common people. I am sure that this institution will serve to fulfill Swamiji's dream of the people of India attaining material prosperity and spiritual elevation. I offer prayers to Sri Sri Thakur, Sri Sri Ma and Swamiji for the all-round welfare of all those people who have been involved in the actualization of this great project. Thank you.
Most revered President Maharaj will now depart from this stage. Revered Swami Bodhasarananda Ji Maharaj, Assistant General Secretary of the Ramakrishna Mutt and Ramakrishna Mission, will now come here and give us an overview of the project Viveka Tirtha.
Om Namah Shri Yatirajaya Vivekananda Suray Satchit Sukha Swarupaya Samine Tapaharini. Most revered President Maharaj, Vice President Revered Swami Girishanand Ji Maharaj, Revered General Secretary Maharaj, Sri N. Ganapati Subramaniam Ji, today's chief guest, Sri Barindra Sanyal, President of the meeting, Sri Ajoyendra Mukherjee, Swami Vivekananda Ji, senior monks and brother monks who have come from different centers, sannyasins of Sharda Math, devotees and sympathizers. I have been asked to give you an overview of the Ramakrishna Mission Center for Human Excellence and Social Sciences, Viveka Tirtha, New Town, Calcutta. Today is a big day, a great day indeed. It gives us a sense of satisfaction that we could inaugurate the Vivekananda Auditorium today when we are celebrating the year-long 125th anniversary of Ramakrishna Mission. The Ramakrishna Mission is an organization to reckon with in the field of education in India. For more than a century, it has been meeting the educational needs of people through its institutions numbering more than 1,000 and spread over the length and breadth of the country. To augment its services in providing character-building education, the mission is now set to launch a Ramakrishna Mission Center for Human Excellence and Social Sciences, also called Viveka Tirtha. Swami Vivekananda emphasized man-making education. His vision of an ideal human personality was one in which there is a harmonious development of heart, head, and hand, heart to feel, brains to conceive, and hands to work. He had envisioned a system of education that would bring out excellence in men and women and inspire them to work for the welfare of the world. He wanted the youth of the country to receive such education so that they become strong, energetic, and sincere to their backbone and develop impeccable characters and unimpeachable integrity. Viveka Tirtha is an attempt to actualize this cherished vision of Swami Vivekananda by offering graded values education and a variety of other empowerment programs to people belonging to a wide section of society, namely from hawkers and sweepers to corporate professionals and senior government officers. Starting of this institution is Ramakrishna Mission's humble endeavor to build a nation that is morally strong, progressive in outlook, and economically sound. The Honorable Chief Minister, Mamata Banerjee, had a dream to set up in Newtown 3 Tirthas, each of which will become unique cultural and education centers. Newtown, as most of you know, is a fast developing planned satellite city of Calcutta. The 3 Tirthas are Rabindra Tirtha, to be dedicated to Nobel laureate Rabindranath Tagore. Second, Nazrul Tirtha, to be dedicated to Qazi Nazrul Islam. And Viveka Tirtha, to be dedicated to Swami Vivekananda. Rabindra Tirtha and Nazrul Tirtha were constructed by HIDCO. In 2013, the government of West Bengal proposed to gift this 5-acre plot of land to the Ramakrishna Mission for starting Viveka Tirtha. Swami Suhitananda Maharaj, who was then the General Secretary, took a special interest in the project and accepted the proposal. On receiving the government order, preparations were started to have a master plan for the campus. Leading architectural firm Messrs. Maniramka and Associates of Calcutta was employed to prepare the master plan and other drawings for the different buildings. It was also decided that the project would be directly monitored by the Bellumat headquarters. The Honorable Chief Minister laid the foundation stone for Viveka Tirtha on 11 November 2014. On that occasion, the Chief Minister urged us to start the construction at the earliest and announced a grant of rupees 10 crore rupees for the project. We thankfully remember the contribution of Swami Shubhakarananda, who was then serving at the headquarters in the initial stages of this project. He enthusiastically worked to get clearances from various government bodies for starting the construction. After 4 years, the state government sanctioned another grant of rupees 10 crore for the project. So there was a total contribution of rupees 20 crore from the West Bengal government. In all, 7 buildings are proposed to be constructed here. The central building here is the Human Excellence Building, where most of the proposed activities will be held. This has a basement where about 200 cars can be parked, a ground floor, and 10 floors with a total covered area of about 2.8 lakh square foot. This is coming up just behind this auditorium. The next important building is this Vivekananda Auditorium, which was inaugurated this morning by Revered President Maharaj. The facade of this auditorium resembles the Art Institute of Chicago. It was in that building that for the first time in the history of mankind, all the major religions of the world came together under a single roof. That event also played an important role in the life of Swami Vivekananda, as you know all. Hence, this auditorium is designed to resemble the Art Institute. In addition to these two buildings, we have monks' quarters, which I will refer to later. 4 more buildings, a hostel, come guest house, then staff quarters, and as services buildings are proposed to be constructed. We wish to name these buildings after Sister Nivedita, J.J. Goodwin, Sarah Bull, and Josephine MacLeod, 4 famous Western disciples of Swami Vivekananda who helped him in his mission in the West as well as in India. The initial estimate for the whole project was rupees 106 crore. However, owing to various factors, the cost escalated later. The cost estimate now stands at rupees 160 crores. 2 years after the foundation, the work was started in March 2016. Though we did not have funds to that extent, we had full faith in the saving grace of Sri Ramakrishna. As we were convinced about the need and the great potential of this project, we went ahead. Swami Vivekananda of the headquarters office was put in charge of construction. He is popularly known as Chinmay Maharaj. Under his supervision, piling work, construction of monks' quarters, and boundary wall were started. He continued to supervise the work until the middle of 2017. The work progressed slowly in keeping with the availability of funds. In the middle of 2017, the headquarters felt the need for appointing a Swami as the head of this Viveka Tirtha center so that he'll be able to give full attention to supervising construction and other aspects of development work. Accordingly, Swami Vivekananda, popularly known as Partha Maharaj, was appointed secretary of the center. He took charge in April 2017. In January 2018, Swami Vivekananda persuaded the renowned construction company Larsen & Toubro Limited to take up the construction of this auditorium and Human Excellence Building. As most of you know, L&T deals only with huge projects such as construction of public roads and bridges. Going by the L&T scale, this was a minor project for them. We are glad that the company agreed to our request and undertook construction work. Since our monks found it necessary to stay in this place for supervising the growing work, construction of monks' quarters was prioritized. A spacious 5-story building for monks' quarters was inaugurated by Revered President Maharaj on 6 February 2019, the sacred birthday of Swami Brahmanandji Maharaj. The construction of the auditorium and Human Excellence buildings continued in full swing until March 2020, when the COVID pandemic erupted. The work had to be slowed down for a few months before picking up pace. A major challenge faced by us in this project is mobilizing funds for the construction. In meeting this challenge, our revered General Secretary Maharaj, Swami Suvirananda Maharaj, and his team at the headquarters have left no stone unturned. The Vivekananda Auditorium is fully funded by TCS Foundation. In the first phase, the foundation gave us rupees 22 crores for construction of the auditorium. In the second phase, an additional grant of rupees 18 crore 20 lakh rupees was given at our request. Thus, the total grant from the foundation is rupees 40 crore 20 lakhs. We had to add another, say about 2 crore rupees from our own funds. Without the help from TCS Foundation, this auditorium would not have become a reality. In this connection, we thankfully remember the services of our dear and respected Shri Barindra Sanyal. On our behalf, he persuaded Shri Chandrasekharan and other authorities of Tata Foundation to sanction the grant for this project. Our heartiest thanks to TCS Foundation and Shri Sanyal and Mr. Subramaniam. This auditorium has a seating capacity of 1,100. In addition to the main auditorium, the building has 2 big halls on the top floor, which will be used for holding seminars, classes on yoga and meditation, and for housing and exhibition. The largest building on this campus is the Human Excellence Building just behind us. The total estimated cost of this building is about 100 crore. So you can see it is a very ambitious project. The structural part of the work is now complete. We have been able to make this much progress with the help of CSR funds received from various corporate bodies. I will be failing in my duty if I do not extend sincere thanks on this occasion to the following public sector and private sector companies: ONGC, Indian Oil, BPCL, Haldia Petrochemicals, Infosys, TVS, Peerless General Finance, Shriram City Union Finance, and the number is quite big. So I'm not able to repeat all the names. So far, we have raised rupees 73.8 crore for the building. Almost the entire amount is already spent. We need at least another 27 crore to complete the building. Viveka Tirtha will strive to accomplish its objective through the following departments: 1. Center for Values Education. 2. Center for Skill Development. 3. School of Languages and Soft Skills. 4. School of Indian Arts and Culture. 5. Research Wing. 6. Publication Division. 7. Legal Aid Center. And last, Exhibition on Indian Cultural Heritage. Our efforts to raise the necessary funds for this project are continuing. We are sure with the blessings of Shri Shri Thakur, Shri Shri Ma, and Swamiji Maharaj, and the support of all our devotees and well-wishers, the project will be completed at an early date. We are eager to finish the construction work of the Human Excellence Building by the end of this year. That would enable us to start the activities here on full scale and utilize this huge infrastructure for the service of people. Thank you once again.
Thank you very much, Srimat Swami Bodhasarananda Ji Maharaj, for giving such a detailed account of this beautiful project. We shall now hear from Sri Ajoyendra Mukherjee, Director of the TCS Foundation.
Most revered President Maharaj, respected monks and Maharajis from the mission, respected Matajis from the Sharada Math, and we have also been doing some work with the Sharada Math, especially in the Sister Nivedita house, dignitaries on the dais, distinguished guests, colleagues and friends. I really feel very fortunate and blessed to be present here today and participate in the inauguration ceremony of this beautiful building. We just heard Swami Suvirananda Maharaj ji, who captured the essence of this structure very beautifully in a letter that he had written, where he mentioned that this building captures history in its own way by pronouncing two great sons of India, Swamiji and Jamshedji. In his address, he went on describing the chance meeting that Swamiji and Jamshedji had, and from there on, the relationships continued subsequently, and then the kind of admiration that they shared, the mutual admiration that they shared for each other. The whole idea was to develop the Indian Institute of Science in Bangalore, and on request of Jamshedji, as described by Swami Suvirananda Maharaj in the story, that finally it is, he requested Sister Nivedita to go and help to get the necessary permissions and the kind of public support that was required in the Western world as well. And that's how the relationship started. And that is the three-way connection between the Tata group, between the Ramakrishna Mission, the Swamiji, and the Sharada Math. So I'm really pleased and I'm really fortunate to be present here and talk about it. At TCS Foundation, we were very happy, and once we were given the opportunity to participate in the making of this particular building and contribute towards it. It was a unanimous decision and to support this prestigious project, and we were happy to do that. We are really pleased to see the fruition of that effort, and I must congratulate the entire team behind making of this building, including the team from the mission and the partner ecosystem that played a role in its construction. I wish and pray that the building serves its purpose, and it's also used for propagating the preachings of Swamiji so that the larger population, especially the youth, is benefited. I would like to thank the mission for this opportunity once again and cherish this relationship that we have developed over this engagement. I would also like to take this opportunity to convey my pranam to the respected monks and Maharajis for their dedicated and selfless contribution to the society for over 125 years. Thank you.
Sri Ajoyendra, Mukherjee, Director, TCS Foundation, thank you very much. We shall now hear the address from the chief guest of this function, Sri N.G. Subramaniam, Director, TCS Foundation, Chief Operating Officer, TCS Limited.
Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo, Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat, Parabrahmam, Tasmai Sri, Gurave Namaha. Revered, most revered President Maharaj, Maharaj's monks and Mataji's, brothers and sisters, dignitaries, guests, I consider it a blessing of my parents and my ancestors for me to participate in this inauguration of the Vivekananda Auditorium at the Viveka Tirtha. Named after one of the greatest Indians of modern times, I'm sure that this auditorium will host many programs that will foster many ideas, our heritage, and national character, which embodies the thoughts of Swami Vivekananda ji. At the Tata Group, when we talk of growth and development, we mean improving the quality of life. It means not only of doing things as an enterprise for our business well-being, but to enable people who we serve or come across to realize their true potential. It means widening their horizon, making them aware of what's happening elsewhere, the art of possible, and rekindling their aspirations. Therefore, we seek just not the outcome in our own business in terms of growth and profits, but enable the growth of knowledge amongst the communities that we serve. Sri Jamshedji Tata beautifully narrated this as, quote, "What comes from people should go back to the people many times over." At TCS Foundation, we enable this through 4 pillars or focus areas of enablement: education and skilling, health and wellness, entrepreneurships, and protecting the planet Earth by preserving the nature and biodiversity. In my early school days, I was not very good in memorizing things, and hence I wrote my answers of what I understood, drew pictures to amplify my understanding. But in that way, I always got lesser marks as my narration missed some of the key words in the textbooks that teachers were looking for. It bothered me and my parents a lot. And so one day I went and asked my teacher what I should do. He counseled me not to worry and enjoy the journey of learning in my own way. He further said, education is knowledge obtained by listening, observation, and testing of facts. Swami Vivekananda ji also spoke about fulfillment of Swadharma, to grow like yourself and not copy others. Swami Vivekananda said education is incomplete without the teachings of aesthetics or fine arts. He observed, true art can be compared to a lily which springs from the ground, takes its nourishment from the ground, is in touch with the ground, and yet is quite high above the earth. So art must be in touch with nature. And wherever the touch is gone, art degrades. Yet it must be above the nature. In saying so, Swamiji put an enormous onus of excellence on the artists. Such excellence of being grounded, and yet to elevate oneself above the ground can only be achieved through discipline, patience, practice, and concentration. This institution, Viveka Tirtha, I'm sure will stand up to the standards of excellence that the Swami Vivekananda ji expected. Lastly, the actions of today determines the destiny of tomorrow. Swami Chinmayananda ji once said. Isopanishad says, Om Ishavasyam idam sarvam yat kincha jagatyam jagat. Meaning, whatever happens, wherever happens, is permeated by the same divine force. It is that divine force that has made this day possible, and we are grateful for the divine force, for all the grace and benediction that is shown to this institution. Thank you very much. Namaskar.
Chief guest for the morning, Sri N.G. Subramaniam. Thank you very much for your kind words. A project of this magnitude and stature has many people working behind the screen, behind the camera. And it is time for all of us here to say in our own humble way a big thank you to some of them. So, we have 8 such very hard workers whom we shall now welcome on stage and greet them. And at the outset, I'll request our chief guest, Sri Subramaniam, to do the honors for us, for the first 2 friends who will come up on stage. Firstly, may I welcome Mr. Sunil Maniranka, please. Sunil Maniranka, as you have just heard about his company, and Revered Maharaj tell me he's the chief architect of this place. A big hand for Sunil Maniranka. Chandi Prasad Khara. Mr. Khara is the structural engineer. I would request the President for the morning session, Shri Barindra Sanyal, former Director of the TCS Foundation, to do the next two honors for us. Orgho Majumdar, would you come up on stage, please? Orgho Majumdar is the consultant for the interiors, and he has done it completely on an honorary basis. He is a highly paid professional, but he's done it on an honorary basis for all of us, as a tribute to Thakur Ma Swamiji. Shubhro Mukherjee, would you come up, please? The MEP consultant, and to us who is not initiated in what MEP is, mechanical, electrical, and plumbing, right? And plumbing. The next two sets would be given away by Sri Ajoyendra Mukherjee, Director, TCS Foundation. Mr. S.K. Basu, would you come up, please? We just heard that construction giant Lawson Tubro had executed the project. Regional Manager for Lawson and Tubro, S.K. Basu. Mr. Gautam Gohoroy, will you come up, please? Gautam Gohoroy, interior contractor for this beautiful project. KG Enterprises. KG Enterprises has done the interiors, so Gautam Gohoroy represents KG Enterprises. And the last two felicitations would be done by Srimat Swami Vivekananda Maharaj, most revered Vice President of the Ramakrishna Mutt and Ramakrishna Mission. Indrajit Guhanyogi, would you come up, please? Interior contractors, he's also from KG Enterprises. We shall now have blessings live. He is on stage with us today by Swami Vivekananda Maharaj, revered Vice President of the Ramakrishna Mutt and Ramakrishna Mission.
হয়ে যাবে ও আচ্ছা আচ্ছা ঠিক ঠিক আচ্ছা আচ্ছা বিবেকানন্দ নিমগ্ন চিত্তম বিবেকাদানৈকবিনোদশীলম বিবেক ভাষা কমনীয় কান্তিম বিবেকিনং তং সততং নমামি. Today is a very grand day. We all assembled here on this particular auspicious day, that is Bhagavan Buddha's birthday, and the inauguration of this auditorium. The naming is Vivekananda Auditorium. The Vivekananda had so much of love and reverence for Bhagavan Buddha. We can go through his lectures and speeches and we can understand how much admiration he has got for our Hindu religion or whatever he may be. It is another religion, Buddha religion, that has come out of Hindu religion in some other times before. Whatever it may be, we now convey our salutations to the great souls, Sri Ramakrishna,
Holy Mother Sarada Devi and Swami Vivekananda. And I congratulate all of you who are here sitting in the dais, ladies and gentlemen, and special dignitaries and the other persons who have been given felicitations. So, we have seen with hard struggle our Swami Vivekananda ji had finished, I should not say it is finished, he is moving this project and he had come to a particular point where we can see that how much achievement has been done by the grace of Vivekananda. Vivekananda passed away, you know, in 1902. But what is his prophecy? He has told, I shall not cease to exist. I shall not cross 40. But I shall do my work. What is that work? To preach unto mankind their divinity and how to make it manifest in every moment of life. So, when we judge this particular work or any other work in any other place, are we going in that way? Yes. If you are to unfold your divinity and manifest in every moment of life, you are to go through seva, service to humanity at any length of time. You have seen the relief work Ramakrishna Modern Mission has undertaken. You will go through all other spiritual activities. We should say it is spiritual. Spiritual in the sense the whole work should be spiritualized and not materialized. So we are to harness divinity. Divinity is the key point in our life. And all these projects, big work which we are doing, Viveka Tirtha, is that spiritualization should be unfolded to the people at large of Calcutta or any other place. People will get inspired, they will come to know that such sort of adventures, such sort of projects are taken up in the spirit of Swami Vivekananda. And what is his message? How to activate it, how to implement it in every moment of our life, that is to be taught to people who are coming in contact with various types of thoughts. There are so many types of thoughts you must be knowing, and there will be contradiction. But Swami Vivekananda, whenever you come to his speeches or his lectures or other things or discussions and seminars, you will see that he has answered all the queries and questions in our life, where the human being can develop and develop and develop. So that is the unfoldment of divinity. As Swamiji told, that divinity is our potential element which is there. And all this work sums up to that one. So, we are very, very happy and glad by the help of the past souls, Mr. Tata, who was so much friendly with Swamiji, and all other dignitaries that time, and at present who have helped us in doing this project successful, and all of you who have come in this project. And I know there will be future generations who will love and like and understand that what sort of magnitude of work we should undertake and actualize it and realize it, that it can be done for the welfare of the and benefit of the whole of the humanity at large. Swami Vivekananda is not merely Indian. Yes, his ideas are all Indian cultures, Indian divinity. But what is this? You know, the whole gamut of his speeches and talks, it is universal and touches the human mind. So this auditorium is an universal auditorium. where we can have discussion, lectures, seminars on different types of things in our day-to-day life. We can prosper, and the main thing is that which helps you to develop your ingrained spirituality, which is the goal of human civilization. At present, as on today, we see how much difficulty is there to save our civilization. It means the human civilization, the global civilization. Swami Vivekananda's ideas is the only key point where we can go ahead and take a new move. We can develop, and these ideas are to be spread out all throughout the world. So it is a very happy occasion, those who have come, and in a short way I wanted to tell you that we are very grateful, all of us are very grateful to all the persons who are involved in this project. Swami Vivekananda ji and our Swamis, Holy Mother's disciples, and Matajis and all other devotees who are here, they should bless, they should cherish that yes, Swami Vivekananda is not for the particular time he has come. He has crossed that particular time limit for 39 years. So, what is his prophecy? I shall inspire men everywhere until the world shall know that it is one with God. If we think how the world will know it is one with God, that is to understand what is the basis of human being. And Swami Vivekananda wanted to be practicalize the whole thing to the whole of humanity. So it is an occasion, it is a chance. Through this we can develop, we can unfold the whatever is there in our spiritual inside developmental harness. So that is the thing. We thank you very much again, and we aspire and pray to Sri Ramakrishna, Holy Mother Sarada Devi, Swami Vivekananda and Bhagavan Buddha to bless all of us so that we can go ahead of this project. Thank you very much.
May I also request, I think Ashim Das had not come. He was with PHE, he was busy with the water system. Ashim Babu, can you come and receive your appreciation from the hands of Most Revered Vice President Maharaj? We thank Most Revered Vice President Maharaj for his kind blessings. As you know, HITCO had helped us tremendously in that without them this project wouldn't have been possible. Due to some very serious pressing engagements at the last moment, the chairman of HITCO, Mr. Devashish Sen, has not been able to make it today. On HITCO's behalf, may I request Mr. Shumon Nyugi to come up on stage and accept a token of appreciation from the hands of Srimat Swami Suvirananda Ji Maharaj, Revered General Secretary. We shall now hear the presidential address for this morning's function. Sri Barindra Sanyal, former director of the TCS Foundation.
Respected monks and dignitaries on dais, respected Swamijis in the auditorium, Matajis, ladies and gentlemen. I have a problem in hand. Whatever I decided to say has already been said by Suvirananda ji. Now I don't know what to do. The only way to salvage the situation is to request you to consider whatever I am saying as an addendum to whatever Mr. Suvirananda ji has said. So that's the only way I can salvage the situation. To me, this auditorium is special for multiple reasons. One reason, of course, is that it resembles the Art Institute building of Chicago. Now, when I visited the Art Institute building and that particular auditorium where Vivekananda delivered his lectures, I had goosebumps. I mean, this is the place where Swamiji dug out his heels and established India in the West. So therefore, this auditorium is not a replica of a building. This auditorium is a replica of a concept. Every time people pass through this road and see this auditorium, they will remember that this is the symbol of India's philosophy getting established in the West. Also, I consider this as special because the organization created by Swamiji, Ramakrishna Mission and Mutt, and the organization created by Jamshedji, the Tata group of companies, collaborated and created this beautiful auditorium as a mark of respect to the friendship and respect between the two of the greatest sons of India. Now, I'm not aware of any other place in any other city in India which has this display of the friendship between the two great people of India. On this auspicious day, as I say, that I thought of talking about a story, a relatively lesser known story involving these two great people. As I said that you already heard about their chance meeting, but let me say it again. Good things can be said again and again. So it was 31st May of 1893. Swamiji boarded the ship in Bombay. His route was Bombay, China, Japan, Vancouver, and from Vancouver to Chicago by train. That was the route. So the last leg of the journey by ship was from Japan to Vancouver. Now, as we all know that at that time Swamiji was not known in the West. Even in India also he was not very well known. But courtesy some of the Maharajas of the upstates and the disciples of South India, Madras, he was traveling first class, and therefore when he boarded the ship SS Empress of India in Japan, he was a cabin passenger. Now in the same ship, there was another passenger, Jamshedji Nasarbanji Tata, who was already famous by that time because he was a successful trader, international trader, specialized in import, export. And he, in 1877, he set up his first plant, the manufacturing plant in Nagpur called Empress Mill, and he shot into prominence for the great sagacity he had shown in choosing Nagpur as a location for that factory, and also he shot into fame because of the systems he introduced in this plant. It is in this plant that systems like pension fund, 8-hour working, accident compensation, creche for children was put up. These were introduced much before these things became statutory obligation for all manufacturing companies. Now, at that time he was also working on his other pending projects, and in that connection he had to travel abroad. Now it is during this journey from Japan to Vancouver that these two great people met, Swamiji and Jamshedji. The journey was for 11 days. They met several times, and they must have discussed lot of subjects, which you do not know because that conversation was not recorded. But one thing, the subsequent events prove that one issue they have definitely discussed was the need for technical education in India. I will narrate the subsequent events which to prove that. And it is also proved that Jamshedji was impressed by the idea of Swamiji on education, how to take education amongst the masses, how to take education beyond the Macaulay policy of producing clerk, how to impart education in a traditional Indian way. So Jamshedji was highly impressed on that. Now, after Jamshedji went to USA, incidentally he did not have any invite for the World Parliament of Religion at that time. He had no idea as to how he is going to enter and how he is going to participate in that parliament. Much later he got permission. At that time he did not have anything. At that time he was addressing small gatherings here and there, and some of proceedings of some of these gatherings were reported in the local newspaper. Now in the local news, in these gatherings, among other things, he also talked about need for technical education in India. There are several such examples, I have, but I want to quote just one example of one meeting, how it was reported in the newspaper. Quote, he said, he means Swamiji, he said, Americans, instead of sending missionaries to train them means Indians, to train them in religion, would better send someone out to give them industrial education. So therefore, Swamiji was having this idea of industrial education, need for industrial education, even before he became famous. Then, by middle of 1898, Swamiji made public his decision to form a trust, donating half of his properties in Bombay and use the resultant income to run and maintain an institution for postgraduate studies. Then he sent his trusted executive, Mr. B.J. Patsha, to study similar institutions in Europe and America, constituted a committee to prepare a complete proposal for establishing such an institution, and finally, when this committee prepared that report, finally the report was submitted to the newly appointed Viceroy, Lord Curzon, in December 1898. Remember the date, December 1898. Now, even before that, Jamshedji knew that if you want to execute a project of of this nature, you need a dedicated and hardworking leader, a proper leader, in order to make a success of a project. I said December. In November 23, 1898, he wrote this letter Suvirananda ji referred to Swamiji. He has already read that letter. I'll again repeat some of the things, not all. But before I do that, at several places in this letter, one word, ascetic spirit, has been used repeatedly. Now, let us recapitulate the meaning of this word, ascetic. Professor Google says, the word is characterized by severe self-discipline and abstention from all forms of indulgences. Abstention from all forms of indulgences. Now, those of us who are students of Ramakrishna Mission institutions, we have experienced what this word means. Okay, now let me go into the letter. Few lines. I very much recall at this moment your views on growth of the ascetic spirit in India and the duty not of destroying but of diverting it into useful channels. I recall these ideas in connection with my scheme of Research Institute of Science for India, of which you have doubtless heard or read. It seems to me that no better use can be made of the ascetic spirit than the establishment of monasteries or residential halls for men dominated by the spirit, where they should live with ordinary decency and devote their lives to the cultivation of science, natural and humanistic. I am of the opinion that if such a crusade, mind you, such a crusade in favor of an asceticism of this kind were undertaken by a competent leader, it would greatly help asceticism, science, and the good name of our common country. And I know not who would make a more fitting general of such a campaign than Vivekananda. Do you think you would care to apply yourself to the mission of galvanizing into life our ancient traditions in this respect? This letter throws away a lot of points, using a lot of interesting words like not just asceticism but crusade, a fitting general, devote their lives, mission. Each of these words can become subject matter for discussion, separate discussions. I am not going into that. But I would request you to notice one interesting point, that Jamshedji is trying to align the modus operandi for carrying on with this institution, proposed institution, in line with Vivekananda's perception of how education should be imparted in India. So that is the very interesting thing. Now, for obvious reasons, it was not possible for Swamiji to accept this offer, but he extended full support. And how he extended full support? In two ways. I'll give you the two ways. One, he made public his support. At that time, as you know, that Bharat had been closed due to the untimely death of the first editor, and then thereafter it again started. The first issue of the renewed version of April 1899. In that April 99 issue of Prabhupada Bharat, there was an article, Mr. Tata's scheme. It doesn't mention any writer's name, but there are reasons to believe that this was written by Nivedita under the instruction of Swamiji. Now, it's fairly long, but I will quote some few sentences out of that. We are not aware of any project at once so opportune and so far-reaching in its beneficent effect was ever mooted in India as that of the Postgraduate Research University of Mr. Tata. Mr. Tata's scheme paves the path of placing into the hands of Indians the knowledge of nature. By having the knowledge, they might have power over her and be successful in the struggle for existence. Again, we repeat, no idea more potent for good of the whole nation has seen the light of the day in modern India. Let the whole nation, therefore, forgetful of class or sect interest, join in making it a success. There were two more occasions during the lifetime of Swamiji when Prabhupada Bharat wrote articles on Tata scheme. And even after the death of Swamiji and also Jamshedji, Swamiji died in 1902 and Jamshedji died in 1904, the Prabhupada Bharat paid tribute by describing Jamshedji as a good patriotic son, the first great captain of Indian industry. It went on to say, very interesting words, it went on to say, a few more Tatas would change the face of India. So therefore, this is how he is supported through Prabhupada Bharat. He took one more action, Swamiji. He deputed none other than Nivedita to join in and work directly for this cause. What happened to the scheme is a long story, but to cut it short, Lord Curzon, on receipt of the proposal, summarily rejected. Why he should accept? Because, first of all, it does not talk about government control, it does not align with Macaulay's education policy, it talks about higher education in science, it talks about technical education, which the then ruler don't want. So therefore he is summarily rejected. But that did not deter Mr. Tata from going ahead. In fact, after his death, Mr. Patsha intensified the effort. And Swamiji's lieutenant Nivedita, with the help of Mrs. Olibull and Miss Josephine MacLeod, worked with missionary zeal and mobilized international support in favor of the Tata scheme. It's a very interesting point that the idea of internationalizing the issue of instituting an educational institution was mooted by Nivedita, and not only that, he executed that. And in many of the meetings with the opinion makers, Mr. Tata himself was present in addition to Patsha, and in one of the meetings I have read Mrs. Olibull was also present. So therefore Nivedita took the issue not just in London but beyond London, Europe, other countries and also America. The situation was that the British government under pressure had to agree, unwillingly though. So now what does the British government do when it is forced to accept something unwillingly? They took the obvious course of bureaucratic action, form committee after committee after committee, review after review. So that's the route followed by them. Finally, when the pressure intensified and the government had no other option, then the Indian Institute of Science came into existence by virtue of a vesting order on 27th May 1909. 1911 it started actually, but the vesting order was 1909. A good 11 years after Jamshedji first put up his proposal. It's a story of long struggle where people devoted to Swamiji and people who shared Jamshedji's dream worked together and achieved success. No wonder ICICI has been recognizing the contribution of Jamshedji and Swamiji even now. In fact, in their centenary year, the postal department brought out a stamp where one can see, among other people at the initial stage, Swamiji's picture, in addition to Jamshedji, Patsha. Unfortunately, Nivedita's picture was missing. It's a long story, as I said, that I have to put it in a capsule of 10 minutes, so I have to stop now. But before that, we are happy to see that the auditorium has been built meticulously to match the grandeur of the Art Institute. One can only imagine the effort and dedication which have gone behind constructing this auditorium. A large number of people, hardworking people with missionary zeal have worked under the leadership of Partha Maharaj and under the guidance of GS Maharaj's office. But for their great effort, this auditorium would not have become a reality. Kudos to them. Let us give them a round of applause and express our gratitude. Thank you.
Shri Barindra Sanyal, former Director, TCS Foundation, Chief Guest of this meeting, thank you very much for your very erudite address, presidential address. We have come almost to the close of the morning function. We shall now request Swami Vivekananda Ji Maharaj, Secretary of the Viveka Tirtha, to propose a formal vote of thanks.
Om Namah Sri Yatirajaya Vivekananda Suraya Satchit Sukha Sarupaya Swamine Tapoharine. Most revered President Maharaj, Swami Smaranananda Ji Maharaj, revered General Secretary Swami Suvirananda Ji Maharaj, revered Swami Bodhasarananda Ji Maharaj, Assistant General Secretary, most revered Vice President Maharaj, Swami Girishananda Ji, our Chief Guest, Mr. Subramaniam, Mr. Ajoyendra Mukherjee and Barindra Sanyal, my brother monks, pranam to senior monks, Matajis, devotees and friends. Today you have heard so many lectures about Viveka Tirtha, so I have nothing to say regarding Viveka Tirtha. I am giving only thanks to all of you. My first thanks to Mr. Subramaniam. In spite of his busy schedule, he responded to our invitation and came to join this opening celebration of Vivekananda Auditorium. My thanks to Mr. Barindra Sanyal. I never expect that he will provide so much time for us, and his contribution already General Secretary Maharaj and Bodhasarananda ji told you, so I am not repeating that. My thanks to Mr. Ajoyendra Mukherjee. Overall, my thanks to TCS for their contribution and make this great success for this construction work of auditorium. My thanks to state government and Honorable Chief Minister Mamata Bandyopadhyay, because it is her proposal. I remember that story. It was a function at Belur Math, 158th anniversary of Swamiji. She proposed to our Belur Math authorities that Swamiji, you please make an institution for man making. Though Ramakrishna Mission institutions are working for man making and character building education, but it is her personal request to our authority. At that time, Swami Suhitananda ji was General Secretary. She told, please start an organization for man making. We shall give you land and don't ask for money to anybody. We shall provide you everything. Anyhow, she has given these 5 acres of land without any premium and 20 crore rupees for the construction work initial stage. So it is my special thanks to Government of West Bengal and Mamata Bandyopadhyay on behalf of Ramakrishna Mission in Viveka Tirtha, the Center for Human Excellence and Social Sciences. My thanks to HIDCO. Whenever I approach for any help to the HIDCO people, they have always extended their helping hand. I am very much grateful to Mr. Devasish Sen and his team. They have helped me a lot for everything during my construction. I thanks to the contractors, architects, consultant Sunil Maniramka, Chandi Prasad Khara, Orgho Majumdar, Subro Mukherjee. They have done lot of work for this auditorium. Sunil Maniramka created all drawings and Chandi Prasad Khara was the structural engineer and Subro Mukherjee was MEP consultant and Orgho Majumdar, he did the interior decorations consultants. My thanks to Larsen Tubro contractor, because when I approached to the Larsen Tubro, they told me that Swamiji, we are not doing such a small project. Minimum 300 crore project we are doing. Anyhow, I requested to their higher officers, and due to it is Ramakrishna Mission's project, they have agreed and they have done this beautiful structural work. My special thanks to Larsen Tubro. The construction work was done by other contractor also. The KG Enterprise, Mr. Gautam Guharaya and Indrajit Gohniyogi, they have done lot of work for interior work. I special thanks to them for this beautiful work. I thanks to the MEP consultants, Subro Mukherjee and Mr. Asim Das to execute this PHE work. My thanks to the Matajis of Saradamot who came to join us and make this function great success. My thanks to all devotees, friends and well-wishers for their active participation, and with the prayer to Swamiji, all brother monks are here. I offer my pranam to them and thanks to them, and my request to everybody, after the function, you please take prasad and then go. So with this, I thanks all of you, all concerned persons of this construction work, lighting, electric, water, for everything. I giving thanks to all of you. Namaskar.
Revered Swami Vivekananda ji, Secretary of the Viveka Tirtha, thank you very much. We have come to the close of the program. We shall close with the closing song rendered by Swami Kalyaneshananda ji from Ramakrishna Mat, Amarpukur.
জয় বীরেশ্বর বিবেক ভাস্কর জয় জয় Sri Vivekananda. Jaya Vireshwara Viveka Bhaskara. Jaya Jaya Sri Vivekananda. Indo Nibhanana Sundara Lochana. Indo Nibhanana Sundara Lochana. Vishwamana Chiro Bando. Vishwamana Chiro Bando. Jaya Vireshwara Viveka Bhaskara. Jaya Jaya Sri Vivekananda. প্রেম ঢালো ঢালো কান্তি সুবিমালো। প্রেম ঢালো ঢালো কান্তি সুবিমালো। অধিগত বেদ বেদান্ত ত্যাগ তিতিক্ষা তপস্যায়ুজ্জ্বল। তপস্যায়ুজ্জ্বল চিত্ত নিরোধ শান্ত। জয় বীরেশ্বর বিবেক ভাস্কর। জয় জয় শ্রী বিবেকানন্দ। কর্ম ভক্তি জ্ঞান ত্রিশূল ধারণ। কর্ম ভক্তি জ্ঞান ত্রিশূল ধারণ। ছেদন জীব মোহবন্ধ। ব্রহ্মপরায়ণ নম নারায়ণ। ব্রহ্মপরায়ণ নম নারায়ণ। দেহি দেহি চরণার বিন্দ। দেহি দেহি চরণার বিন্দ। জয় বীরেশ্বর বিবেক ভাস্কর। জয় জয় শ্রী বিবেকানন্দ। ইন্দু নিভানন সুন্দর লোচন। ইন্দু নিভানন সুন্দর লোচন। বিশ্বমানব চির বন্দ। জয় বীরেশ্বর বিবেক ভাস্কর। জয় জয় শ্রী বিবেকানন্দ। জয় জয় শ্রী বিবেকানন্দ। জয় জয় শ্রী বিবেকানন্দ। জয় জয় শ্রী বিবেকানন্দ। স্তিমিত চিত্ত সিন্ধু ভেদি উঠিল কি জ্যোতি ঘন কোটি সূর্য গলাইয়ে ছাঁচে ঢালা কান্তি যেন স্তিমিত চিত্ত সিন্ধু ভেদি উঠিল কি জ্যোতি ঘন কোটি সূর্য গলাইয়ে ছাঁচে ঢালা কান্তি যেন মায়া খণ্ডিত অখণ্ড বাড়ি বুঝে লীলা কেবা হেন কোটি সূর্য গলাইয়ে ছাঁচে ঢালা কান্তি যেন স্তিমিত চিত্ত সিন্ধু ভেদি উজ্জ্বল বালক বেশে অখণ্ড ঘর প্রবেশে উজ্জ্বল বালক বেশে অখণ্ড ঘর প্রবেশে প্রেম ঘন বাহু পাশে প্রেম ঘন বাহু পাশে কাহারে করে ধারণ কোটি সূর্য গলাইয়ে ছাঁচে ঢালা কান্তি যেন স্তিমিত চিত্ত সিন্ধু ভেদি উঠবীর আখি মেলি ছাড় ধ্যান চলো চলি উঠবীর আখি মেলি উঠবীর আখি মেলি উঠবীর আখি মেলি ছাড় ধ্যান চলো চলি ধরণী ডুবালো বুঝি ধরণী ডুবালো বুঝি অবিদ্যা কাম কাঞ্চন কোটি সূর্য গলাইয়ে ছাঁচে ঢালা কান্তি যেন সুধীর ধীর পরশে যোগী চায় সহরসে সুধীর ধীর পরশে যোগী চায় সহরসে কণ্টকিত তনু মন নীরবে ভাসে বয়ান সুধীর ধীর পরশে যোগী চায় সহরসে কণ্টকিত তনু মন নীরবে ভাসে বয়ান তারা জ্বলি ছায়া পথে স্পর্শে ধরা আচম্বিতে তারা জ্বলি ছায়া পথে তারা জ্বলি ছায়া পথে স্পর্শে ধরা আচম্বিতে পুণ্যভূমে উদে আজি পুণ্যভূমে উদে আজি পুরাণ নারায়ণ পুরাণ নারায়ণ পুরাণ নারায়ণ কোটি সূর্য গলায় ছাঁচে ঢালা কান্তি যেন ছাঁচে ঢালা কান্তি যেন ছাঁচে ঢালা কান্তি যেন ওম शांति 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 हरि ओम तत्सत् श्री रामकृष्णार्पणमस्तु। जय श्री गुरु महाराज जी की जय। जय महामाई की जय। जय स्वामी जी महाराज जी की जय। जय गंगा माई की जय। जय भगवान बुद्ध देव की जय।